Maidie Broderick from Cross, and we're going to have a chat about the old midwives.
Yes, Mrs.
We could talk about your grandmother first. You were just saying that somebody had told you.
Yes, Mrs. Jordan and Derla saying.
Mrs. Jordan, and she told you that she would have been like a
the
local midwife.
The local, but sure, she had no
qualifications.
No qualifications, yes.
So she
but
was
that
like
down too now, afraid.
But they would have learned it from it. They would have learned the trade.
Well, I suppose that time,
Yeah, from her mother or an aunt or something. They would have showed her.
So that's it now.
So and what was her name, Maidie?
Mary Keane.
Mary Keane.
Well, she was Mary Collins from Menlough.
From Menlough.
Yeah.
And then she lived her married life up in Derry Lissan.
Yes, and then they came to Cross.
And that was during the Land Commission.
June 1917 they came.
1917?
Yeah.
Oh God,
that's the picture there now inside the door.
Oh, I must have a look at that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you remember about Mrs. Fleming?
Well, you want to start about? I don't.
No, we can start wherever you think. Whoever
well,
you like.
I'll tell you about Miss Fleming. I was going to school at the time now, and she had a bicycle, and she had. Do you know the suitcases? That bread, and she had that in the back of the.
With all her bits in it.
With all her bits, and she'd go round about.
Yeah.
And people, if they had a pony and trap, they'd pick her up. And cart, they'd bring her.
Yeah.
Now that was 1940.
And would she have charged them that time, or?
Oh yes, I don't know what she's charged. Now,
yeah.
I can't tell you what Mrs. Kilcommins charged either, but I suppose it's 20 or so pounds. Like. Yeah. And I can't tell you now whether the money was in that time. You know, the free maternity.
Yes.
Now I'm not sure.
Yeah.
When I had her, like.
Yeah.
You know.
And what kind of area would she have serviced, Maidie?
Whatever she was called.
Yeah.
My lot in Mountbellew. And maybe Ballyforden or...
Even down as far as that?
Yes.
She would.
Because I remember she saying somewhere she was and they never made her a cup of tea. No, I don't put that down. I remember her saying that.
She lived in a little house down beside the church, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And never married?
Never married. She was a lovely lady, and Miss O'Connell used to stay with her. She was the teacher in Menlough School in my time.
Okay, so she lodged with her, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then with the two old schools, now I'll give you the history of them.
Yeah, do.
The boys and the girls' school. The boys' school was the Canes. They had a shop. They were my father's first cousins.
Okay.
And Miss Fleming then was in the other house.
Okay.
And who was in it before that was Jan Nocton and Mrs. Nocton. You know Bernie McKay.
No. Look, you just tell me who they are anyway. So,
yes. Yeah. And they lived there until their house was built, and then Miss Fleming took it over.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
So she had, you were saying she had a sister that was a
teacher. Is that uncomfortable?
No. She has a...
Miss Fleming had a sister, Delia Byle.
Yeah.
And she was married to Byle a lot. They're still there.
Yeah.
And she got cancer and she died. And she taught in Tyquin.
Okay.
No, that's a long time ago.
Miss Fleming had a niece, you were saying, as well.
She had a nephew. Her Delia Boyle had a son, a priest, then John Boyle.
Yeah.
He's still around.
Okay. And she had a niece then as well, you were saying?
Fiona Boyle. That was the sister of the priest.
Okay.
There was 3 children, I think, at Delia Boyle's now.
What did you say the girl's was the name again?
Fiona.
Fiona, you said she was some in Odlums or something.
She worked for Odlums. She used to give out recipes on the radio in the morning. Do you know the Odlum programme?
On Galway Bay, is it?
No.
No, on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. What is her name now gives it out. She's retired now.
That's right. There's a lady on Ireland's
There is.
Yeah, I know the lady you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And she got the covers and she was very bad with it.
So Ma Kilcommins then would have been the next generation and after Miss Fleming.
Yeah, well, she lived in Mountbellew now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll tell you now what happened with Mrs. Kilcommins. She, I was to go to Galway, and I had no arrangement made with her, and I didn't get a chance to go to Galway. So she came up.
Yeah.
And she
delivered the baby.
Well, the baby delivered for her.
And what number baby was that for you?
TJ.
Was that first, second?
The second.
Second baby.
Yes.
And did she deliver many of your babies?
Only 2 of them, the 2 lads. Eugene that was here now and Gus.
All right.
Yes. But she never had to only spend a couple hours. Like,
yeah. Quick deliveries.
Yes. And bad deliveries. Like, but I mean that. Yeah. They're not good.
Yeah.
But
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was she a nice lady, Maidie?
I thought she was very nice. I found her all right. She'd come up every day. I think it's 5 days now.
She'd come up to check on you.
She'd come up to check on you, and if everything was going all right, she might, things weren't going right, she would
Keep
come.
coming for another few days.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if things was right, you were all right, like.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of people have said she was scrupulously clean.
oh, she was. If you had things right for her, she was right herself.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I suppose.
No. Yeah.
And she'd like, to...
And she was only trying to prevent infection, really.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
people didn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was there for her, and all disinfectants are all left
So
there.
when you had your home deliveries, did you have to have anything ready for her, Maidie, like a little pack? What would be in the pack, like towels and...
Towels and napkins and everything like that.
Would you need some women had a rubber sheet. Would you have had to have a rubber sheet? No.
No.
You don't remember that?
No, there was no rubber sheet.
Yeah.
No.
Just a lot of washing.
No, there wasn't. There was a plastic. A plastic.
Yeah,
yes.
there was normally some little thing that
yes,
had,
that's it.
to help protect the mattress.
Everything was.
Yeah.
Everything was, and all the linens was left out there for, when you were expecting her. When my mother was alive, the time TJ was born, so everything she helped me to get out. Yes.
And would you have had a lot of family members helping out, Maidie, that time?
No, only my mother.
Just
so after Senator, then it come down. I used to have to get stitched to count the quick births.
Yeah.
So he'd come down and he'd stitch.
And he'd do all that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it now.
Yeah.
Things used to go grand.
And did
she'd have her tea and she'd have a little drink if you gave it to her. And she was a lovely. No, I thought she was a very nice lady.
Yeah. And most people have said she's been a lovely lady.
Yes.
They've
and
great memories
the
of
husband
her.
used to come with her. The husband, the driver.
And he'd wait.
He'd be sitting in the kitchen like.
Ah.
And then the next time they said, "You're on the next one now," she said, "Come downstairs," she said.
Yeah.
Because I think she was heavy.
Yeah, she struggled going up and down.
That's it. Now.
Yeah.
So the next time then came down in the sitting room, like,
And you had some of them in hospital, Maidie?
I had 3 of them in hospital, 3 of them at home.
And just out of curiosity now, which would you have preferred? Do you prefer the home births?
The home births were all right too.
You felt more relaxed at home, did you?
No.
No? You're a bit more nervous?
Now, it isn't that at all, but I didn't want to see my mother doing the work.
I know
when
what you
were
mean.
Gone, do you know?
It was all done and then you came home with the baby. Yeah, there was no work involved. Yeah. But for yourself now, giving away the work.
Yeah.
Would you prefer?
No, I sold the hospital.
You sold the hospital.
Yeah. Well, you'll be chatting to different people, like, know.
But yeah, you're right. When you're in hospital, you can rest as well. You see, you haven't the little ones to be dealing with then either, or dinners or anything.
There was only Geraldine for the first, and then Gus and TJ was born, and then Gus and then Eugene. Oh, we had 2 men working at the time, digging spuds when Eugene was born.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Jordan died at the same time.
Oh, Jeannie.
And she was a young woman, only around 55.
Oh, Jeannie, man.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you remember now about deliveries? But, Kilcommins, I think...
She'd give you, if she wanted, she'd give you an injection to hurry you on, but she didn't need give it to me, like.
Yeah.
And she liked her, she liked everything to be right, like, and everything to be nice and
very clinical.
Clean and disinfectant there and everything like that.
Yeah, well, she was right, though, because it saves a lot of problems down the road. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? And then when Eugene was born, and Mary Dilly sister Damien, she was a maternity nurse as well, so I had the 2 of them.
Oh, very good.
She only lived up the road and she was down to me as well. So.
And would she have serviced the area here too?
Oh, not at all. No? She was only home on holidays.
Only home on holidays?
Yeah.
But she was where was she working out from?
She did in Sheffield Hospital in England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, it was not great to have her.
Oh, it was great. And she'd spend half the day, like,
talking and helping
and
isn't that lovely?
Things gone by.
And she was just glad to be home.
She was glad to be home. She
was great to have her.
Oh, it was lovely.
Yeah.
And when TJ was born, Joe's cousin, she was one of the Brodericks in Ghlúine. She was a maternity nurse as well. But she was a full. She was in paternity and the other.
And what area did she work, Maidie?
She worked in Galway.
In Galway?
Yeah. And then she went to Canada.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that's where she ended up.
So most of the women, Kilcommins, I think, serviced right around Abbeynockmoy and my
Oh, she'd go anywhere because the husband had drive her, like.
Yeah.
Oh, it was grand. She was, I liked her, right? She'd always have a nice dinner for her when she'd come, like. She'd always come around dinner time. And she'd have the dinner, like,
Yeah, look after her.
Yes, and like she was such a nice lady, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You pay her for into the term then. I think is it £10 or €10?
So even during the pregnancy, Maidie, would she'd come up regular checks on your?
Oh no.
No. So it's just
you
literally.
You go down and you tell her you were pregnant and you'd make a date for when it was going to be born.
Roughly.
And you tell her then a couple of
weeks beforehand.
Yes.
Reminder, and
that was it. I used to go to the doctor. Like.
Yeah.
But people never went to the doctor, but they went to Nurse Kilcommins.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I do.
So I used to go to the doctor.
Everybody had their own way.
Everyone, for all the women around you, you never saw them. Chrissy Crapple and all. Do you know Brian Acton of Vermont?
Would that be Mary Nocton? No.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, her mother and they were all the one age now.
Yes.
And Sis Lawless and Ballard, you know the Lawlesses?
Yes.
What's his name? Dave Lawless's mother.
Yes.
All them now are the one age. Every one of the lads, all the families were the one age, like. And the Finnertys and Clonkeys, you know them?
Yes, I do.
PJ Finnerty's mother and father.
Yeah.
Lily Mannion and Mrs. Lawless are two sisters.
Oh, imagine.
And you meet all them every month.
You'd be going for the checkups.
You're down to Dimney's in Menlough.
Yeah.
In Jordan's now, the private house, like.
And would they have all had Mark Kilcommins? A lot of them, no, they all went to hospital.
They all went to hospital.
Yeah.
So
she kind of finished up, I think, in the late 60s, early 70s.
She did.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went to the hospital for the last 2 hours. I cannot tell you that now. And I kind of forget, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe she was winding down at that time.
Well, I think she wasn't well. Yeah. There was something wrong with her.
Yeah.
But I never felt any fault with her. She was a grand lady.
And did you? Would you have bottle fed or breastfed?
Bottle fed.
Bottle fed.
Yeah.
So was it SMA that would have been out that time, or what was the name of the feed that time, Maidie?
Well, cow's milk.
Cow's milk.
Cow's milk.
Cow's milk.
Yeah.
And would you have boiled it up? You probably would have boiled it up.
You boil the milk and sterilise it, like.
Yeah.
And then the growth. It was like you'd make it in water.
Yeah.
And it was lovely stuff, and that's what you would start. And
I know, the little, like
a little bit, a spoon of egg, the yolk of an egg, and potatoes, like, you know, a little bit of potato.
Bitines or something.
But you wouldn't dream giving that now, would you?
Oh, not at all, but sure, look, most of us were reared on it.
Well, I know, but
and bread, you know, bread softened and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And bananas and, you know.
Anything, anything soft,
I don't know, but...
I didn't do a bit in them.
Well, it didn't. It didn't do anything on them. But
no.
I know, but it was all right. Then it got more modern, like.
So that's it. See, the powder milk, although it was around, I don't think it was used
very much.
Well,
it all depended if the cow's milk didn't agree with the child.
Yeah.
You had to get. No, what wasn't it? It wasn't SMA now, I think.
There was one called, it was a Neves or something like that.
No, that was food.
Oh, was it?
No, I can't think of the name of the milk now, but it was the only milk around, like.
Yeah, at the time.
It went off the market, whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
And then the SMAs and all that started appearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was life in my time now. You know.
And how many had you all together, Maidie?
I had six alive, and the twins died.
Oh.
Yeah. They'd be 60 now.
Jeannie Mac, imagine.
Yeah. They were baptised now.
And you've a lovely dresser there we were admiring earlier on.
Yes, the dresser now.
And 1932.
32, yeah. And I got a new front door as well at the time, you know. And there was green, got a window.
Yeah.
And there was Moon McElwain that made it. And there was green roundabout on the top of the window. Oh. And then there was green on the door.
It was lovely.
It was lovely, you know.
Yeah, it was really
That's
nice.
the year we built the hall, the little hall.
The little extension on it, yeah. But it's a beautiful dresser.
It was nice, all right now.
Absolutely.
They used Smashy and Lally. You know, that boy now that's in the play with you.
Yes.
What's his name? Jerry. Jerry's uncle. he worked at McIlwain's. He left the straight to be
a carpenter.
A carpenter, yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful dresser.
They made one for Noni Nocton. That was Paddy Rowan. They're up in Punlabroad. And he made one for the John Mitchell made his own, and he made one for the Divneys that was on Cross. You ever heard of Mickey Divney, did you?
Mickey Divney, I did.
Well, his mother.
Oh.
Yeah, and he made one for some other one now, and they were all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. You know.
Lovely. Really nice now.
Well, there was a Nurse O'Reilly now before Mrs. I don't know, she came up to Mrs. Mitchell.
Okay.
A Nurse O'Reilly in Caltra. Did you ever hear of her now?
No. Nurse O'Reilly.
Yeah.
What years are you talking roughly there now for that?
I'm talking about 29 and 30.
Okay, that far back.
Yeah.
In Caltra. I must see if I can find it.
And you should come to Mrs. Jordan as well.
Yeah.
Nurse O'Reilly. She had, was it Nurse? I think it was Nurse O'Reilly was her name now. She was from Caltra or whatever.
Yeah.
And
did they cycle an awful long
way
to Praetorians?
Wasn't they great?
They must know every byroad.
I was listening to Bhean Kelly.
Wasn't it lovely, Maidie?
I was listening to Bhean Kelly. That's what we were listening to now. Yeah. We listened to the football match in Mindlin, Tommy Higgins and talking. Well, it was lovely to see the old people.
Wasn't it lovely?
It was.
We were doing a blacksmith project lately as well, Maidie. Do you remember? Do you remember much about them?
Pat Rowan in Mindlin.
Yeah.
He was a blacksmith, and his father before him, and his Mary Rowan was married to Jerry Lally.
Yes.
Her father. Her grandfather.
Yeah.
It'd be a blacksmith too.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Lahane was the latest blacksmith, and he was married down in Rahines.
Yeah.
To, what was her name?
That's right, Ted Lahane's dad.
Yes, yeah. To Julie.
And the McDonoughs were there as well. Do you remember them over in Killiscope?
Oh, that's a long time ago. Johnny McDonough, yeah. And Pat McDonough, now that's I don't remember them now, but I know of them.
Yeah.
You heard
remember them talk with them. Yeah.
Paddy that done the hall here. And you used to hear him talking about them.
Ah.
Yes. And Mary was his sister.
Okay.
Mrs. Scanlon.
That's right. TJ's.
Yes,
mom.
Yes.
Yeah, she came out of that house.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was lovely, you know. You kind of, when you don't be talking about those things, you forget them.
Yeah, but it'll start coming back to you then when you're
talking about them.
Yeah, when you're talking about them.
Yeah.
And we got lovely pictures of you before of yourself in Menlough School.
Yes. In the school.
What's your memories of the school?
Oh, the school was lovely. I couldn't grumble so much now, but Mrs. Hessian, the Lord have mercy on her, but she wasn't a good teacher.
Yeah.
When she was teaching, she went into Irish for everything. Okay. And when she was made principal then, she dropped Irish and went all English. And then she'd be asking you counties in English, and
so
you didn't know
confused.
them, and you get
because you'd learned everything in Irish before that. Yeah.
But Mrs. Duggan was a great teacher. She lived in Mindlin.
Yeah.
She was Regan from Claremont, and she was a grand lady, and she was married to Duggan from Gerberley.
Okay.
And she had one son, Eugene, and he worked served his time in Lohans. People didn't go to college that much.
Not at all. They just did their primary cert if they were lucky and went off then.
Well, their primary cert wasn't out that time.
Not even out that time.
No.
They finished off their primary school or whatever they got length out with and went off to work.
They went off to work, and it was grand, like, you know. It was lovely. I never could grumble about school now.
You loved it.
I liked school, yes. Yeah.
You loved the learning.
And Mrs. Hessian was cross, the Lord of mercy on her, but she had reasons to be.
Yeah, they did. I'm sure people, they'd no way of dealing with any of that stuff.
Her husband had a shop and he had a drink.
Yes, yeah.
But I don't know of any other. Oh, there was a Pather girl in Abbey, she was a nurse as well.
Okay.
But I don't know much about her.
And is that the 40s, 50s time too as well?
Yes.
Yeah, Potter.
Yeah, Nurse Potter.
Nurse Potter.
I don't know now who really, they're cousins of John Potter, but John Potter doesn't know anything. I don't know, I'd be talking to him like about, I'd be talking to him now about where his sister's, his grandaunt was married.
Yeah.
Like, and the clue.
Yeah. Some people don't, and they've no interest in knowing their connections or what's going on.
No, well, Colette has all that down.
Yeah.
Down. She's in the heritage in Raheny.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Colette Gill.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it myself now.
Sure, I like it too.
I think it's it's invaluable what we're getting out of people like yourself, Maidie. Little things that mightn't make sense even when you're talking about them to the person.
No.
But down the road, something else might be looked at, and
Yes.
you'll say, I remember Maidie talking about something about that.
Yes.
And that's how your stuff comes up.
It was lovely, like,
Yeah.
And times were nice, and it was lovely long ago, like, and everyone was friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Kane's had a shop there, and every Monday morning, and after the dance, they used to all meet. Miss Delaney be awful interested. She was a solicitor there in Lohans, and she'd be awful interested when we went to the dance. Like, you'd think she wouldn't be a bit bothered.
Yeah.
And we'd all meet there. Nancy, do you ever heard of Nancy Armstrong, Mrs. Dignan?
No.
They lived there. Anne Dignan, did you hear of her?
We see that's what comes with being the blow-in. But anyway, tell us the story.
But we used to always go in there this Monday morning, and you'd get an excuse to go to Mindle. Like, what do you to go to Mindle in the morning for?
For the chat.
We used to go with her. And there'd be all the chat of the dance, like, and be all talked about. And
it was a great night,
and a bad night or a good night, or so on and so forth now, like,
So the dances, how often would they have been on in Menlough, Maidie?
When I was growing up, there was pictures twice a week.
Oh.
There was no electricity.
Yeah. And
the travelling shows used to come. And Timmy Tai and Mrs. Reardon. Remember the Reardons?
Oh, is that thing on the telly, was it? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the husband, they used to come on a travelling show, and they would used to do Shakespeare once a year. They'd come.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And would the dances have been coming from everywhere? The people
would they'd come. They were coming. Sure, it was the only place, like, at the time, and they'd all come on bicycles.
All on bikes.
Yeah.
And what kind of musicians were there?
The Jimmy Doolhan used to play, and then the Cavern, all the big bands that come for the carnival.
Yeah, and I know Francis said there that he used to go back to his house there, his mum's house, Rita's house, for tea. And
that's right. Mrs. Kelly used to give the tea, and Mrs. Divney.
Yeah.
The two houses, and up again one another.
Yeah, you'd have sandwiches and tea, or
yes, if the people now coming along where we say from Kiltorm and all them places, they'd come in and they'd have a supper, like,
yes,
they'd have ham and tomatoes and
before the dance even.
No,
after it?
During the dance.
Oh, you'd have a little break, like, is it? Yeah.
So the dance would go on to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. Started at 10 and ended at 4.
They were great nights.
They were great nights.
Yeah.
They were.
Did you meet your husband there?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I knew the brother a long time before I knew him.
Oh.
Yeah. They all came from Clonkeane.
Yeah.
Do you know Jerry Broderick?
Jerry Broderick. I've heard of Jerry Broderick, but I don't know him.
The young lads, Gary is there in Clonkeane, and
no.
The wife is Mary McGee.
No. I don't.
You wouldn't, sure you're a good bit from them now.
Yeah. Well, a blow-in as well doesn't help, does it?
Well, I know it doesn't. Sure, Anne Broderick, sure, Joe came down here, he didn't know anybody. And I remember J.P. Laffey was here, P.J. Laffey, they were bringing home Turford. There was a couple of them here, and they were talking about, he's dead now, the lot less, and he was looking for oaths from his brother-in-law, Sonny Nocton.
Yeah. And
the man said he couldn't give the oath without asking the missus. I suppose what was proper order.
Yeah. She was boss.
They all started, and I know I was going around with the tea, whatever, and I gave a thump in the back to Joe to shut up. because Mrs. Nocton and JP. Didn't you know Tommy Leffy and PJ Leffy?
Yes.
They were first. David's aunt was Mrs. Collins. Jack Collins'
That's
mother.
right. Yeah.
And I don't know. They weren't. Those the Leffys I'm talking about now. Blow Clunky Abbott.
Oh, Clunky Abbott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Beezy.
Oh, yeah, they're different Laffys altogether.
There.
Yeah.
The Donohoes and them Laffys.
A different Tommy Laffy, yeah.
Yes. And I don't know what other. There was.
I thought it was.
Mrs. Scanlon's daughter was David's mother.
That's right. Yeah,
she used to come up here for turkeys and everything.
Oh, did
we used to, she was a grandwoman. We used to.
Yeah.
She used to come up for eggs and everything long ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know. But whatever way, and her mother was a lovely woman.
Yeah.
And she had a sister in Abbey, Mrs. No, tell me your name.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know.
She had a sister in Abbey. What was her name?
She was Laheen before she was married.
She was Laffy. She was
Laheen. Bridget Laheen. And she
was
married.
That was David's grandmother.
Granny.
Yes. That was Bridget Laheen.
Yeah.
She was a stout woman.
A stout, heavy woman.
A stout, heavy woman. There was a market in it Sunday.
Yeah.
Outside that, jam and things like that.
Now that you mentioned markets, was there many markets around when you were growing up, Maidie?
Mountbellew was the only.
Mountbellew was the only one on the Tuesday.
And they used to go to, I suppose they had banners and Laffys too. Into Tune, they'd go with the banners.
Yeah.
Selling them. In the later years then, they'd sell them, them lads in Kilcommins, they used to buy a full clutch together, do you know?
Okay.
That's
and turkeys was a big thing in Mountbellew, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah. We used to have about 300 turkeys.
300?
Yeah. we had a turkey station.
Yeah.
And there was, you'd have 6 hens and a turkey cock. And you'd have 6 goose in a gander, 6 geese in a gander. Yeah.
Wow.
And we used to sell turkey, chickens and everything.
Yeah. David was saying his mother used to sell them, and that was her money for, buying material and
buying
clothes and stuff, whatever she needed for the house for Christmas and it.
That was just what was it.
A little toy or a little whatever she could get them for Christmas.
Whatever you get, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Oh, nice memories.
Well, they were nice memories, you know.
Yeah. What do you miss, Maidie, about them times? Just the probably the more relaxed element of it, is it?
All the older generation.
Yeah.
Now. I was born here, you
know.
And then, like the old Mrs. Jordan, not Irish is the grandwoman.
Yeah.
And Nancy, that died there a couple of weeks ago, Nancy Maloney.
That's right. Yeah.
And Phyllis.
You're missing all the company.
All them. Phyllis used to every morning. She was in England, and she used to go to shop every morning at 9:30 or 9 o'clock. And she'd come in and Patrick Field to be in that chair. And he was to be in Collins. And Mrs. Collins died. She asked me to give him his meals.
Yeah.
So I said, all right. She was in hospital at the time. And she said she didn't want her to go hungry.
Yeah.
And she said, would you do it? I said, I will. So I kept her promise. And until the day he went into the tomb, I fed him. Though sometimes I felt like
killing him. Well, that comes with the territory.
But whatever way, Phyllis would be there and he'd be there. And
who was your shopkeepers growing up now? What was there? You had Mrs. Lohan and
we'll start now. Maggie, the Neils now had it. There was the shop there one time.
Yeah. And
that closed down. And then there was Crahan's, Maisie Crahan, and she married Malachan from Longford.
Malhan's, yeah, that's right. I think I've a picture of that shop.
Yeah, shop. And then there was Cahan's, and there was Lohan's, and there was Sonny Burke's, and there was Scully's, and there was Divney's, and there was Madden's, and Jimmy Kelly's.
Oh, imagine. All the little shops.
All little shops, and every one of them was doing business.
They were coming from a huge area, I'd say.
They were, I don't know. Everything was...
It was more populated, though, I think, wasn't it? Derry Lasan was populated well at that time.
It was.
Yeah.
No one in it now.
No, isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
When all the little houses that were up there at one time.
Annie and I were in school together. We were the one age. And Annie Rowan and Dee Glynn and Dee Lancaster And Ruane was first, Delia Carty, Chrissy Owens,
Oh, yes.
Myra Flynn.
Imagine.
That was my class.
Oh,
Yeah,
not lovely.
it was. And we only Christina died there 2 years ago.
That's right. She's not long dead
And
now.
Myra Flynn is living. Delia Glynn died about 10 years ago. And Delia Carty died very young. And then Ruane died very young.
Mm. So what do you remember? Do you remember anything about your grandparents? Were they alive when you were young, or?
Well, I don't remember. I was only about 3 when they died.
Oh, yeah. So you've no real memory of them.
Yeah. The only memory I have is Mrs. Mitchell getting married. John Joe Mitchell's mother getting married. And I remember I was about 4 years.
Yeah.
And my mother and Maggie Scannell's mother was up in Mitchell's, and we were coming home. And Simon Mitchell, you know
Yes,
Mitchell?
he was the Hackney man.
He was the Hackney man.
Yeah.
And he had this big white car. And they nearly went up in the ditch. I can't remember that, but I remember they went up in the ditch.
But sure, it must have looked like heaven, this big
Well, I
wedding
think they
and
never
everything.
saw a car before or something.
Yeah.
You know. I remember when Mrs. Maloney died, there was no car to be got to go to the funeral, and there was the play crowd down in the green, and they obliged.
Oh.
Yeah.
Imagine.
You know, that's
No money, sure.
no money. Oh, there was no petrol.
No.
That was the time of
The
the war.
war,
Now,
the
yeah,
war.
yeah.
No petrol.
No petrol.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Poor old devils.
Oh, they were good times, like, you know.
They were, of course.
And then McFadden had come for about 6 or 8 weeks in Lind.
Oh, yeah, that's the travelling show.
The travelling pictures.
Yeah.
And some nights he had to play it 3 times.
The crowd that would come.
The crowd that was coming.
Janie, imagine.
There was one great picture, the Garden of Ada. Did you ever hear of that?
No.
It was a great picture. This fellow joined the monks and, you know,
Yeah.
his whole life.
Giving his life story.
And then he left and got married.
Oh, now the woman broke him, huh?
The woman broke him. And at that time now there was it was 4pence for there was 8pence for the gallery.
Yeah.
And 4pence for downstairs.
Down on the ground.
Yeah. You know, like there was more entertainment long ago.
Yeah, there's nothing now. You have to go everywhere for
I
it.
don't know. Well, at least one thing about Skehane, they always have something
going on. Yeah.
You know, and they Costello's shop used to have.
And it's a beautiful pub as well.
It's an old-fashioned pub.
Yeah, oh, it's lovely.
Will you have a cup of tea?
Oh, sure, might as well.
Wait,
We'll have a cup